Alright, Schlockmeister fans, what we got here is a re-review from my previous channel. This one's called Deranged, Bob Clark film. Let's check it out.
Firsthand the incredible story you are about to see recreated in this motion picture. It is a human horror story of ghastly proportions and profound reverberations.
Meet Ezra Cobb. He lives with his mama.
For the next 15 years, Ez and his mother worked the farm by themselves, growing more dependent on each other with the passage of time. Then Amanda Cobb suffered a paralyzing stroke.
But I've always told you, the wages of sin is gonorrhea, syphilis, and death. They'll use their bodies to steal from you.
This is the day Mama dies.
Don't bleed. Don't bleed. No.
He visited her grave as often as 4 or 5 times a week. And at home he continued as though she were only away on a trip. He kept her room neat and clean.
So after 1 year passes, he decides he can't live without his dead mother, so he decides to go dig her up. He imagines she looked just like she did when she died. But she really doesn't.
I'm taking you home, Mama. Home.
And what now? Now he intended to restore her. And to that purpose, he began reading everything he could about embalming, taxidermy.
Ezra learns about obituaries.
And it tells when the funeral is and where they're being buried and all that kind of stuff.
You mean I can find out where and when somebody's been buried?
So he steals the body of his old Sunday school teacher so his mama can have a new face.
She comes now real easy.
He doesn't have any experience with women. Someone tries to set him up with this woman. He says you can trust her because she's fat. That's what his mama always said.
Herbert, just like you say. But I like that fat. Big old arms. Place just hanging down.
That woman is also like some sort of fortune teller or something, or medium.
A woman again.
She's allegedly talking to her ex-husband, late husband. She just wants a new man.
Yes, make love to me, darling. The wages of sin is gonorrhea, syphilis, and death.
Ezra can't handle any of this.
Look at them tits. Both of them. I seen tits and I seen tits from Portugal to Yokohama. Now let me tell you, those are tits with a capital T.
They're talking about Mary, the waitress.
Here you go, babes.
Good evening, my dear.
Shove it. Oh, try it. Tell me how you like it.
Ed takes a fancy to Mary too and slashes her tires, and now he's coming to her rescue.
What seems to be the trouble?
Oh, hello, Ez. Some goddamn punks slash my goddamn tires. That's the trouble. Can you
It was.
So he gives her a ride,
turn around and go back?
How come?
but he missed the
How come?
turn.
Because that's where I had to go. That's how come. But where do you think you're going anyway?
My place?
He tells her he'll change the tires for free. He's just got to go pick them up at his place. He jumps out of the truck and then just kind of disappears, leaving Mary to wander around. Eventually, Mary wanders into the house and stumbles upon several dead bodies. But are they all dead? One of those was Ezra, dressed in the skin of one of the corpses. He eventually catches her ties her up, strips her down.
Won't you sit down, please, ma'am?
Very nice way to treat your bride.
She tries to play along so she can escape.
As is it.
Gosh. No.
She gets him to untie her. And then he bashes her back with a leg bone. So now Ezra's hanging out with one of his neighbors, and his neighbor has a daughter named Sally Mae.
Never believe that.
Ezra's a little smitten. This is the guy that owns a local hardware store. So Ezra pays a visit to that store when Sally Mae's working and grabs himself a rifle.
What are you doing, Ez?
Throws her in the back of the truck, but guess what? She wasn't dead. Sally jumps out, takes off into the woods running, steps right into a trap. Ezra catches up with her, and he's going to shoot her again.
Please, no. Please, no.
Back at the store,
I'll bet he did.
Ez, he wouldn't. Now, you know Ez wouldn't do nothing like
He's
this.
crazy enough to do anything.
I've known Ez for 25 years, and I tell you, he could not do
Suppose we
it.
ought to go out to his place and take a look, huh?
Ezra's got her strung up upside down in the barn, and he's gutting her like a deer.
He burned them in hell. Death, death.
Sheriff and the other two arrive to find Ezra out of his mind with a bowl of blood. All right, let's talk about this movie, Deranged. Came out in 1974, and it's loosely based on the story of Ed Gein, who was a Wisconsin serial killer who skinned some victims and wore their skin and had like lights and stuff made out of skin in his home, and had a mother obsession. So Plainfield, Wisconsin, which is only, I think, about 2 hours from where I sit right now. So anyway, Roberts Blossom, who you might remember him as the next door neighbor in the movie Home Alone, he plays Ezra Cobb, who's supposed to be the Ed Gein type here. And we hear the story. He's lived with his mother for many years. He took care of her. His mother was just kind of a tyrant, always warned him about women, that sort of thing. So he's led a very sheltered life, has Ezra. Well, of course, his mother dies, and then he's like distraught, doesn't know what to do. He's also kind of a dimwit. And then after about a year, he decides he's so lonely without his mother, he decides to dig her up, take her out of her coffin, bring her back home, and he tries to like fix her body up with skin and some, I think he used some fish skin too, just try to make her like normal again. Obviously she's dead. And then he starts killing people and using their skin too. And he takes a liking to this, and I guess his motivation here was just to have some real skin to put on his mother's body to kind of keep her fresh, I guess you could say. He's had no experience with women in his life, but he kind of comes on to this woman named Mary in a bar. Mary's not interested in him in that way, and she's also maybe 20 years younger too, but nonetheless, he's kind of fancies her, so he lets the air out of her tires one night, and then when she comes out of the bar, she can't drive, and he's right there to help her, and he's going to fix her tires. So he says, he brings her home to his place, and then he kind of disappears for a while. Then she wanders around, she discovers some dead bodies, and then she sees Ezra dressed up in the skin of somebody else, and then she tries to fool him as if she's going to go along with this. At this point, he's undressed her, and she's in a bra and panties, and she decides to go along with it. Hey, I'm your bride, blah, blah, blah. She smashes him in the head when he releases her, but he doesn't. She doesn't kill him, and he gets up and he chases her around and then kills her with a femur, some sort of bone. And then he's hanging out with like the neighbor, and the neighbor's daughter, Sally Mae, comes in, and he's taken by her too because she's cute. She works at this hardware store downtown, so he goes and visits her down there, takes a gun off the shelf and shoots her in the head. Throws her in the back of the truck, is going to take her home. Then she wakes up in the back of the truck. She guess she wasn't quite dead yet. She jumps out. He chases her through the woods and shoots her again after she stepped on a bear trap or some kind of trap. Takes her home and then hangs her up naked in the garage and starts to gut her like a deer. Meanwhile, the girl's boyfriend and I think the father who ran the hardware store get the sheriff out to the store because there's blood and stuff in the store, and one of the guys says Ezra Cobb was the last one here, so they decide to go out to Ezra's place. They find Sally's body hanging in the garage. They go inside, and then you see Ezra. He's got a bowl of blood. He's got blood all over his shirt, and he's just laughing incessantly, and that's how the movie ends. There's a little prologue that says, a couple days later, some townsfolk burned down his house, which is exactly what happened to Ed Gein's house, by the way. So yeah, that is Deranged. Now, this is a movie that I don't think came out on videotape until early to mid 90s, like 1993 maybe. A company called Moore Video put it out, and I don't know if it was like a legit release or not. It just seemed like it was almost like a bootleg type tape, although I think it probably was a legit tape, but it was just an obscure label that only released one other thing that I'm aware of. But it did come out, and the video store I worked at picked it up, so that's when I first got it. Fascinated by it. It's really an incredible movie and very well done. Tom Savini did some of the makeup in this. Alan Ormsby directed this. Bob Clark, who collaborated with Alan Ormsby on a couple of things, Death Dream, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. He produced this, did Bob Clark. And then, of course, he went on to make Porky's and A Christmas Story in the 80s. But yeah, this is a very well done film. Robert Blossom was incredible in this role. He was really fantastic. He played the part so perfectly. Yeah, I don't know what else more I can tell you about this. It's a really good movie. You should definitely check it out. It's got a really super creepy vibe to it. It's got some like church music and things, and it's just really creepy. And it gives you that feel that it's almost like a realism type thing. This was filmed in Toronto. I'm sorry, not Toronto. It was filmed in Canada somewhere. They actually tried to film in Plainfield, Wisconsin, but the townsfolk said, "You ain't filming that shit here." So they ended up moving to Canada. They actually tried to do it in a lot of Wisconsin towns, and they all rejected them. So up to Canada they went. But anyway, really good film. I don't know if it's got a Blu-ray release or not. I know it's been released on this DVD here with Midnight Movies, with Motel Hell, a movie I reviewed not too long ago also. Maybe it did get a Blu-ray release. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'll leave a link down below if you're looking to buy it, and you should buy it. So click that link and check it out, buy it, and then let me know what you think about Deranged. Watch it. Bye.